Welcome to Ice Age 2, The Meltdown. That starts out again with Scrat and his nut struggles. Then we see a bunch of animals playing in a half-icy water park. All the kids are having fun in a camp or daycare that Sid organized where he can't control them at all, so they basically torture him the whole time, which leads Manny and Diego to come and save him from them and make fun of him for being such a fucking loser. So he's like, you guys gotta start treating me with some respect, and hops away. Then the kids, having no filter by nature, keep asking questions and saying shit that fills Manny with sorrow for having no family and dread for very possibly being the last of his kind. And then they crack down on this armadillo spreading doomsday news around because he wants to sell straws. Manny tries to convince the people not to worry, that the world's not going to end, it's not going to flood like Fast Tony's saying, with some very flawed logic. Then they see Sid about to jump off the very tall waterfall to try and prove that he's got some balls and get some respect from them. So they go up to stop him. Manny catches him right before he jumps and slides back down the slow pushing Diego onto the ice, which cracks. He runs back before falling into the water, and they show us a wide shot of all the ice around them cracking and melting around this big ice dam, which wasn't like that in the previous shots, by the way. Yes, Diego broke the ice a bit, but he didn't do all of that, for fuck's sake. Anyway, they realize that Fast Tony the armadillo was correct with his prediction that the ice is melting and it's going to flood the place. So they go down to warn the people, but by trying to walk down, the ice above the waterfall cracks and they fall down the waterfall, slide over to the people. And you know, now that I think of it, how the fuck did they get up there in the first place? I don't see any stairs or a slope with a gradient good enough for them to go up. So how did they do it? Is there an indoor cave stair system in the walls of this ice? Doesn't matter. They get down there to join Tony and warn the people of their impending doom. They don't believe him because he was just telling them that it wasn't true, and now he switched sides. But then a vulture hanging out above confirms that the ice around them is melting. They're in a big bowl that is going to fill up very soon, and the only way to survive is to get to the other side of the valley where there is a boat. Sort of a Noah's Ark type deal, you dig? He also says that they have 3 days before the ice in the dam gets weak enough, breaks and lets the water through, and the water gets to the geyser fields before the boat. How did this fugly ass chicken possibly come by this estimation? It's not like it's something you can eyeball by looking at the dam. Whatever. 3 days before the water hits the geyser fields, it is. He flies off wishing death upon them, and some of the dam breaks and falls down. This beaver saves his child that wasn't visible in any previous shots from falling debris, and now with everyone convinced, they start moving to the other side of the valley, while some prehistoric frozen fishies that are somehow still alive in the ice thaw out of the ice, swim in the water, and eat Stu, Tony's turtle sidekick. Then we cut to a short montage of Manny's fucked up little herd walking through the day and night to make it to the other side. Eventually, Manny's very literal existential crisis hits an all-time high. Then they hear another mammoth roar. Do mammoths roar, or is it called something else? They hear a mammoth trunk loud exhale. Do they make that noise from their nose? Bruh, it doesn't matter. Fucking focus. They hear a loud mammoth noise, alright? Jubilation sets upon Manny and he starts running towards it. They follow. Once they all get to the source of the noise, they find out that it's just a moose farting through a fucking log. Bro literally got catfished by a fucking bowel movement. Anyway, he gets sad and asks his friends to leave him alone to go be depresso espresso. While he does that, they run into a couple of mischievous possums who annoy them, then force them into awkward positions while they play whack-a-possum twister, while the little shits mount a relentless pebble assault on them. Diego gets free, runs after them, so they run away to their sister, and we cut to Manny being sad at a pond when another female mammoth falls out of a fucking tree right next to him, and he goes, I knew it wasn't the only one. She goes, me too, everyone falls out of a tree once in a while, they just don't say it, bitch the fuck. Then Crash and Eddie, the 2 possums, run over to her, calling her their sister. Manny and the boys find out that she thinks she's a possum, and says like, I know they say never stick your dick in crazy, but you kinda got limited options here, bro, and comes up with the idea of inviting Ellie, that's her name, and her bros to come escape the flood with them. Manny doesn't like that idea because she's fucking crazy. Neither do Crash and Eddie because they got beef with Diego, but she agrees because if they only travel at night to avoid predators, they'll never get to the boat in time, and they can protect them from their predators when they travel in the morning. And so they don't waste time bickering. Manny also reluctantly agrees. They all start moving again, the possums drastically slowing down their pace because they're trying to move camouflaged and sneaky peeky like. Even Ellie does that, who was not visible behind this boulder in any of the previous shots. The bushes were, she wasn't. Anyway, Manny tries to convince her that she's a mammoth too, like, look at our footprints, look at our shadows, we're the same. But she's like, yeah, look at that, you must be part possum, being the densest of c***s, and I don't think that statement has ever been more accurate and more fitting than right now. I guess they fell behind all the other animals because they keep moving and they're alone now over this semi-frozen over lake. The 2 evil fishies now swimming underneath them pop out of the ice to attack. The possum gang get to safety, but Sid gets thrown into the water while Diego's on a small piece of ice. He swims over to him to escape the fat evil fishy coming for him, but Diego's frozen through fear of the water, so he bites his tail to snap out of it and they jump away to safety. Meanwhile, the other long-mouthed fish is attacking Manny, but he stops it with his tusks. It gets stuck on them, then he throws it away. I don't know why he didn't mash it into the floor and step on it and kill it. Actually, that might be a bad idea because it's probably going to break his part of ice and he'll fall into the water, so never mind. He eats it away to impress Ellie and gets the safer, thicker ice with the rest of them. However, she's not impressed and they keep moving. The possums keep having fun and playing on the way while Manny is mad at Ellie for being such a stupid bitch. He's like,
I don't care if she thinks she's a possum. You can't be 2 things.
Which is a very brave statement to say nowadays with all the retards identifying as 85 different things at a time. And if you get mad at that statement, by the way, just know that I identify as an A4 piece of paper that's sexually attracted to newspapers. So anything you say is a hate crime. Checkmate, alphabet people. Moving on, Crash almost dies because he's a dipshit that wanted to fly. They continue. Ellie gets stuck underneath a log. Manfred unstucks her by throwing the log away, which uncovers a pathway to a tree that gives Ellie mad deja vu. So she walks down it. He joins her. Sid and Diego leave them alone because they're like, oh, they're gonna fuck. Ellie keeps walking and gets flashbacks of her being the lost little baby, or abandoned little baby, in a snowstorm who found this tree and took shelter by it, but then this possum mom found her, took her in and raised her. Remembering all that finally makes her realize that she's a mammoth. Talks about it with Manny. He tells her that she's an attractive mammoth because she got a fat ass. And she's like, aw, thanks. Then he suggests that they save their species together by doing some shaboing boing, you know what I'm saying? Citing it as their duty, which offends the fuck out of her. She gets really angry at him, like, if I was stuck in a room with only you and I was forced to have sex with someone or else I'd die, I'd fuck myself. Wow, that's harsh. Eat a dick. Meanwhile, Sid and Diego were making camp with Sid trying to help Diego with his fear of water, trying to teach him how to swim by hanging from vines and swimming through bushes. I don't know how he's able to float through this bush with all his limbs in the air like that, but whatever. Ellie comes back angry and wants to continue traveling through the night, so they do that and get to this rocky, foggy place. Sid hits a rock. Possums are like,
watch out, there's a stump. Not anymore.
No, it isn't. It's clearly still there, dumbass. Then they cross this ridge, I think. I don't know how to call this, but it's like a teetering thing that has 3 levels and is balanced in a horrible way that shouldn't be balanced at all. The top one starts to crack, so Diego takes charge and tells Manny and Ellie to lock trunks so they can keep balance. Then the possums to reach for the ledge, tries to get everybody to work as a team, but Manny and Ellie are still mad at each other, so he forces them to apologize to each other and make up their differences. He's like, I'm sorry I said what I said. She's like, I'm sorry I overreacted. But then the whole thing starts crumbling because Sid is stupid. It's okay though because they're able to run off the teetering rocks and jump to the other side to safety. Manny and Ellie have made up now so they can set up camp and go to sleep. Ellie hangs her brothers on a tree and hangs off the tree herself to join them. Possums don't sleep that way, by the way. That is a complete and utter fabrication. And also, I'm not so much concerned with the branch holding the weight of a fucking 9-ton mammoth, but more with her tail being able to support her entire weight. That's like one average American trying to hang off a pull-up bar by their fucking pinky. That thing is ripping off. Anyway, while they sleep, Sid gets his own little side quest and goes on an adventure. He gets abducted by a bunch of mini sloths who hail him as their fire king because they saw him start a campfire, so they sort of worship him and imitate him for a second and lay down a sick beat, then tie him up and throw him into an active volcano as a sacrifice to the gods, so hopefully the flooding doesn't occur. But through the power of luck and extreme bullshit, he gets bungee launched out of the volcano and scares them away, then makes it back to his gang the next morning, who wake up to rising sea levels. He tries to tell them what happened, but they don't believe him and keep moving. They go through this valley that is full of vultures who start singing a banger remix of Oliver Twist's Food Glorious Food, make it through that valley, then get to the geyser field before the boat that's shooting off random hot steam geysers like a minefield that can fry them to death. Manny wants to risk it and go straight through because there's no time, the dam could burst any second now, but Ellie wants to find a way around the geyser field because it's too dangerous, and they end up arguing over that, get angry at each other and split up. She takes her brothers to go find a different way around, and Manny throws caution to the wind and marches through that geyser field. Sid and Diego follow him. He gets knocked out by a geyser going off right next to his face, but his bros are there to wake him up so they can run the final bit and make it to the other side unscathed. Well, Manny got hit a little bit. He's not hurt at all, but still, kinda scathed. They join all the other animals boarding the boat and start looking for Ellie, but can't find her. Vultures are flying overhead making announcements like this.
Do not leave your children unattended. All unattended children will be eaten.
I thought vultures only ate dead animals, but if that's not the case in this movie, when Crash and Eddie got launched over a gap in the vulture valley, literally threw some vultures, why didn't you snatch them and fly away to eat them? That's like a golden opportunity wasted, you feathery dipshits. Anyway, the dam that has been falling apart the whole movie with scratting underneath it finally gets weak enough and gives way to the water behind it. The place starts flooding, the bowl starts filling, and the animals all the way on the other end of the valley feel that. So does Ellie and her brothers, who found a longer route around the geyser field through a rock canyon, but the vibrations of the incoming water and the breaking dam dislodge a bunch of rocks that fall and form a cave around her, blocking her in. She shoves her bros through a crack so they can go save themselves, but they tell her that they will find help and come back, and they do that. They spot Manny amidst the panicking masses, tell him what's happening, so he runs back to the cave with them, undeterred by the water that is barreling towards them. The water finally arrives, but the fearless fat ass continues and swims through, grabs a log and wedges it in the rock cave, trying to pry it open to free her from her aquatic sarcophagus, an aquaphagus if you will, but it's very hard. While Sid tries to save Crash and Eddie, who are now stranded in the water, but when he jumps down, he dives directly into a piece of ice because he's a dumbass that didn't look before going, and knocks himself out. Now he needs saving as well. So Diego gets over his fear of the water and jumps straight in, learns to swim real quick, saves the boys and gets them over to like a high dry point or whatever. Then the two evil sushis make it to Manny, drag him down into the depths to bully him a bit, but he kicks them away and goes back up to the cave, jukes them into ramming the log for him and opening the cave. The big ass rock that's blocking the cave falls onto them and they get dragged down by that, eliminating them for good. He saves Ellie and they join the rest of the guys, but they're still gonna die because the place is still flooding. I mean, they could totally swim over to the boat and survive, but maybe not, whatever. Scrat, who made it to the other side of the bowl with them with his nut, is now climbing the ice wall with it, which forms a massive crack, opening that side of the wall and draining the water. I'm sure he's not the sole reason for that. It was already weak and he was just like the final straw, but let's say he's the one responsible. The entire valley drains out, everybody's safe. Hooray, they all see the mini sloths that Sid was talking about and believe him. Then through the big ass crack in the wall come a big ass herd of a big ass mammoths. Before we continue, I just want to address the fact that there's no way that all the water drained unless the dam was holding back a very small lake. Also, when the mini sloths wanted Sid to join them as their fire king, and Diego told them no, because he is, quote, the gooey sticky stuff that holds this herd together. Come on, bro. You use all these words and terms that shouldn't exist in the realm of this movie, but you're gonna tell me that you don't know the word for glue? Fuck you. Anyway, Ellie wants to go with the rest of the mammoths and tells Manny that he should join her, but he doesn't want to leave his herd and doesn't have the balls to ask her to stay with him, so he lets her go, but then Sid tells him that it's okay to disband the wolf pack and go to join her. It's true love after all. So he goes to do that and ask her to be together. She agrees. Then they come back to join Sid and Diego. to enlarge their herd instead of the mammoth herd. And they walk away a big, happy, fucked up family. Then we see Scrat go to nut heaven and get pulled out of it because Sid gave him mouth to mouth and brought him back to life, which infuriates the hell out of Scrat, and he goes all Lieutenant Dan on him like, "Why didn't you let me die?" The end. This movie gets 69 possums out of 85 mole rats.